Bitter Army veteran teaches a lovely stranger to tango. His Oscar-winning performance in Scent of a Woman is another brushstroke on the Pacino canvas. As in his other films, he is completely devoured by the role, as if some other spirit were inhabiting his body.
Deputy debriefer, Paris, peace talk, 68. Snagged the Silver Star and a silver bar. Threw me into G2.
G2?
Intelligence, of which you have none.
He was born Alfredo James Pacino 53 years ago. His parents divorced when he was 2, and Al was raised by his mother and grandparents in the South Bronx. He had 2 passions, baseball and acting. In 1966, he was accepted at Lee Strasberg's famed Actors Studio. 2 years later, he would star in The Indian Wants the Bronx off-Broadway and appear in a television episode of NYPD with another unknown, Jill Clayburgh.
There's somebody up there with a gun!
After a couple of small films in which Al played seedy street types, he was called into screen test with Diane Keaton for The Godfather.
Luca Brasi held a revolver against Hallie's head, and my father told Hallie that either his signature or his brains would be on the contract.
The studio hated him, but a young director named Francis Ford Coppola knew he was right for Michael Corleone. 2 sequels and 2 decades later, it has become one of the defining roles of his career.
It's not personal. It's strictly business. Don't ever take sides with anyone against the family again.
I command this family, right or wrong. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Twice he received Oscar nominations for his portrayal of the reluctant mafia capo. Twice he lost. He has also been nominated for other fine roles in Serpico.
I don't care if I'm in trouble. I don't care who gets it anymore, including myself.
Dog Day Afternoon. But not, unfortunately, for the role he told us he is most proud of, Scarface.
He used to take me a lot to the movies, you know. I learned. I watched the guys like Humphrey Bogart, James Cagney. They teach me to talk. I like those guys. Tell them how far we come.
After Scarface, and indeed for most of the 80s, Pacino appeared to be missing in action, surfacing only briefly in the box office bomb, Revolution. Then in 1989, he made a splashy return in the sexy thriller, Sea of Love. Pacino is back, and significantly, he had returned with a sense of humor.
I'm looking for generals! What do I got? Foot soldiers! I want Dick Tracy dead!
Since his Oscar-nominated turn in Dick Tracy, Al has become one of the hardest-working actors around. 2 Broadway plays and 2 movies last year, a new thriller this year. The film, Carlito's Way, will be our first glimpse of Pacino since he picked up his first Oscar for Scent of a Woman.
Oh, you don't want me to do it, do you? Oh, no. Hoo-ah!
Pacino has never married, but has romanced over the years some very high-profile women, such as actresses Jill Clayburgh, Tuesday Weld, Marta Keller, Kathleen Quinlan, and Diane Keaton. These days, he can occasionally be spotted with film director Lyndall Hobbs. Any Pacino sighting is a rarity, something like picking a leopard out of a tree, and information on him is scarce. Few people know, for example, that he has a daughter from a brief relationship 4 years ago. Fame is something that Pacino is still struggling with. Odd, since acting is his life. When you were 8 or 9 years old in the South Bronx, where there were not, I don't know, kids in the neighborhood were not coming out and doing repertory. Kids don't. You knew then you wanted to be an actor?
It was something that I just did. It was as though I had the kind of, when I was very young, my mother took me to the movies because she worked, and the only time she could get to see the movies and me was when she came home from work. So we would go to the movies. So I was watching films. And I would act out the parts. I remember I would come home. This is interesting. I was thinking of this now. I'd come home, and I'd always make an entrance, you know, at night from playing, and we'd come in, and usually it was a dying entrance. I'd enter and die all the way into the kitchen and die. And one day I was playing with a friend, and we were on a fire escape, and I was twirling around, and I landed on my head. And I got up, and my friend, of course, was laughing, you know. And he looked like blurry to me, and I wandered over to him, and he was still laughing, and because I guess it was a funny sight, seeing me fall from the first floor on my head, on concrete. I'm staggering home, and guess what? I go into my apartment, and I fall down. Only I really fell this time. My mother, I had a concussion. They thought I was kidding. I had a concussion, and a doctor came and
But when your mother died, and you were in your early 20s, was that, I mean, it's hard for anyone. Was it terribly hard for you?
Oh, yeah, because my mother was so encouraging to me, and I think that's why I'm here, is my mother encouraged me, and I realized that later on in life. And that's what my mother gave me, and I missed that she didn't see me or any of it come to fruition, that you know, even a minor success would have meant a lot to her. And my grandfather, too, who raised me, he didn't see it.
He died a year later.
Yeah. So the two closest people to me died within a year of each other. And I wish they'd have seen it, because it would have meant something to them.
When you did The Godfather, you were 31 years old, you were a stage actor, and suddenly, this enormous fame.
Yeah.
But Al, when you had that fame and success, instead of it being wonderful, it wasn't those years after.
Yeah, well, you know...
What happened?
It's a relative thing, fame, and it works on different people differently. And what happened was interesting, and how it worked on me is I didn't talk the way I usually talk. And I realized people were receptive to me. And I hadn't earned it. I had done nothing to earn their laughs or their interest or anything. And it felt kind of cool, you know, just to sit there and not have to earn it. And I think that's a trap you can fall into with fame, because life is people. It's being with people. It's interchanging with people. That's what life is. And when you're famous sometimes, that part of you can get cut off. And I'll tell you how, because you don't employ the stuff in you that makes you what you are, because you don't have to. And so I found myself, I felt victim to that a little bit. But I'm aware of it.
You had a whole series of successful films, and then for something like 5 years in the 80s, you didn't make any films. Were you turning down roles during that time?
Yeah. I can't explain it. It's like I just became more involved with things, and you know, if you're gone, if you're not around, you know, you start to recede, and people do sort of...
People began to forget. You could go places more naturally.
Yeah. It was very interesting, because it was somehow I felt freer. You know, I started rubbing shoulders with people again, and getting involved in a way that I remembered from years ago. I had a guy say to me the other day, "Do you know who you are?" I thought that was good.
What'd you say?
I said, that's why I act. I don't know.
Can I ask you questions about your private life without your jumping out of the chair?
You know what? My hair might start falling off if you do.
Well...
It's okay.
Okay. You have a little girl,
Yeah.
3 years old. To me, 3 years old is the most heavenly age.
It's the Batman age.
The Batman
Yeah.
age? What's it like for you to have a child?
Well, it's
Has it changed
different.
your life?
The thing
So
is
let
that
me
it does
put
change.
that way.
It changes everything. Yeah. I mean, right now I'm thinking about it. What I did I got a call from my kid this morning. She called me to tell me she was going to go to school today. It changes yeah, the way you think about everything.
Is she adorable?
Yes.
It's the first time in this whole interview that you've broken out in a totally big smile. Do you want to get married? As a, you know, as an outside thing, do you think I'd like to be married?
I think I would, but it would have to be a certain kind of marriage, I think.
What kind?
Well, it would be, whatever they say, a sort of a mutual kind of, agreement of a sort in terms of how we would live. Because my lifestyle is one that's erratic and different. And I would hope that if I married someone that they would be aware of that and that our lifestyles and our would be able to mesh. I think that's part of it.
The newest film, Scent of a Woman.
Yeah.
It's a sensational performance.
Oh, thank you.
It really is. In the role, you are a man of tremendous pride and anger. You don't sit like this. There's a different way you sit.
Yeah.
And there's a different way that you look. Is it possible for you to look at me as if you're blind and then look at me seeing? Can you show me?
You know, I could have showed you easier. I could show you now. See, I'm doing it
That's
now.
right, you're doing it now.
So I'm not focused, I'm not seeing you.
Yeah.
But there it is.
Yeah.
It's interesting to talk like that.
It's very strange.
Yeah, it does a whole thing to your body.
Yeah.
And you see, it changes everything, the way everything moves. And
Your
that's all
head,
part of
everything.
Yeah.
How did you become a blind man?
Well, it's all mimicry, finally, in the end. For an actor. There's a lot of things you do. Plus, I've played blind before. It's like when you get a part as a police officer, and the first time you get a part of a police officer, you do a lot of different things than you would the second and third and fourth time you've played it. Things change. I mean, if I was painting this room, if I started painting this room today, and I had to paint this room every day for a year, the way I would be painting this room today and the way I would be painting this room in a year is a different painter. It's just practice, you know. It's doing it.
Do you have a philosophy? By which you live or direct?
My philosophy is man is a little bit better than his reputation and a little bit worse.
Do you have a fantasy?
Yes, having my own talk show.
To have your own talk show.
That's a
Okay,
great
I'll tell
voice.
you my fantasy. All right? In Scent of a Woman, you get up and you do the most wonderful tango. It just...
Dancing's great. I used to love to dance.
Did you? Do you still? You like to dance?
I don't.
Now, wait a second, if I can figure out how this goes.
I forgot, Barbara. Well, you know, I'd have to be blind to do this.
Close your eyes.
Oh, gee. You come a lot to these dances?
Only when there are strangers.
Here comes the dip.
Oh, my back!